Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. We are waking the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. Could the secret to thriving in business be embracing failure rather than avoiding it at all costs? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we're helping the world experience what's possible. And today, in terms of business growth, you guys do not know how excited I am about this topic and the people that are in my Zoom room today. Here to help me with that mission are some of the expert authors of one of our newest books. This is called The Complete Small Business Growth Guidebook, Brave Strategies for Authentic Success. I don't know, maybe you guys want to know why I'm so crazy passionate about this. It's because we are burning ourselves out. We are doing entrepreneurship because we signed up for the freedom. And what we didn't realize is it's way harder than we thought. And we need a community. We need a lot of things. And I've got 3 of the things for you here, maybe 4, because I'll include myself. And we're going to get to it talking about how you grow a business and still stay sane and healthy and awesome while you're leaving this massive legacy in the world. So I've got Frank Byram with me. He's a scientist, inventor, and writer author, and has spent the last 4 decades on a spiritual journey, the last few of which have been focused on deep self-healing and serving clients in establishing their daily rituals and practices. Prati Kaufman is the founder of Small Biz Marketing, a full-service agency focused on making marketing stress-free for small business owners. As a human energy expert, she combines business and energy work to help clients grow with ease. And S.A. Grant is here. He's a seasoned entrepreneur, digital marketing expert, and the host of Boss Uncaged podcast, helping businesses unlock their full potential. Welcome, guys. How you doing?
Great, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Good morning.
Good morning. I can't wait to get into this conversation with all of you. And, we're shaking it up a little bit for the business interviews. This series is going to just be so badass, y'all. And it's mostly because of you guys. Prati, what's the secret to thriving in business for you?
So I'm Prati Kaufman, and I wrote the chapter 11, Digital Marketing Mastery. And my really secret to thriving is having absolute no fear of failure in life.
Well, how do you make that go down in your day-to-day?
Explain that, right? Just having no fear of failure. How do I do that? Like implement that in my life on a daily basis?
Yeah, how? How do you do it? Like if I was going to peek in your window and I was seeing Prati have no fear about failure, what does that even mean?
That means that I would rather grow than be dead and have no growth. And failure to me is growth, and making mistakes.
Wait. We got to rewind. We're going to rewind to that. I would rather grow than be dead.
Yes.
Wait, is that what you said? Like,
yes.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. All right. So when you grow, what are you seeing in your business when that happens? Like are you a measurer?
Yes, big time. And what I have seen is I'm able to scale with very much at ease my business, and I do it on my terms. And there are mistakes I make and all, and I learn from it, but I never let it weigh down. So my energy always stays pretty upbeat because I absolutely love doing what I do, even in spite of all the failures and mistakes I make.
Yeah. So I think this would be true for all 3 of you, that you have a mindset practice or else you wouldn't be doing it successfully. Would you agree, Prati?
100%.
Yeah. Prati, thank you for saying yes to this project, and thanks for being here today.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for organizing all that. It's a lot of work for you, I know.
Well, I love it. I love what I do too, and I could have said most everything you said. I think it's how we survive. If we're not fueling ourselves with passion, then we're being drained, right? And I have a thank you to all 3 of you. Thanks for saying yes to it, but also just for taking the challenge that I gave you to kind of put your heart and soul in the story and allowing people to get to know you, because I think one of the things business owners are not doing enough of is personal, vulnerable story. They're all keeping it behind this little curtain, and that's actually success is going to happen when the opposite happens, when we are actually sharing our full-on badass hippie warrior love awesome selves, right? SA, how about you? Would you tell me what your secret to thriving is?
Yeah. So it kind of references my chapter 13, podcasting, the best way of empowerment, growth, and success. And I always say, like, through podcasting or through anything that you're going to do in business, to be your authentic self 24/7. It makes it 10 times easier if you're not pretending to be something that you're not or pretending to be somebody else. Just be yourself completely throughout everything that you're doing. And by default, your business will attract the right people.
So, this topic gets talked about so much, authenticity. We get it shot at us from everywhere lately. So, what does that even mean to you?
I mean, for me, it's just kind of like, if I'm going to be a smart ass, that's who I am naturally. I'm going to be that person. I'm not going to go into a boardroom and sit and be stiff. I'm going to be a little bit more animated, because whoever's in that room, I'm there for a reason. And whoever I can attract and be my real self at that time and at that point, that's going to be the person that my energy level is going to hone in on and make that deal more successful, versus being more nervous being someone else and trying to remember that lie later on. And okay, now I'm talking to this person, which version of SA did they get at that point in time? And then you tend to forget. If you keep lying, you get deeper into lies, right? So,
Are you a smartass?
oh, on occasion.
Oh gosh. I mean, and what a freedom it is. Like, I can feel it in my chest and my heart, to just be your smartass self, if that's who you are, right? Like, there's a palpable feeling to that. And I would imagine, wait till you hear SA's story, you guys. Quite a story. I'm not going to give it up right now for you readers who are going to buy the book. Yeah. But you had to come over a hurdle that was pretty intense. You want to say anything about that?
Yeah, without giving away what the hurdle was, I mean, I would just say it was a life and death experience, right? And I always say that when you're faced with something like that, either it's going to make you stronger, or that's the time that you're going to bow out of life. Not to say that you're going to die, but who you are becoming, then you don't become that person because you kind of gave up. And then that was my moment of awakening. And what happened then made me who I am today. I would not be SA Grant. I wouldn't have Boston Cage. I wouldn't be a smartass if I didn't have that experience to just live my best damn life how I want to live it and help people on their journey as well.
Yeah, awesome. SA, thank you for being here. Thanks for saying yes to this.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me and bringing me on, because again, I think it's one of those things to have all these different people together to be able to tell these collective stories to help other people when they're hitting those bricks and hitting those roads to overcome them.
Oh, yes, indeed. And how cool that you just said that last line, because as I asked Frank about what what he thinks about in terms of thriving, I'm also thinking, Frank, about your chapter title. So tell us what your secret is to thriving in business.
Well, Laura, thank you for having me. I wrote chapter 21, When Your Business is Stuck, a results strategy to achieve flow and success again, because your business will get stuck. And, my secret was actually given to me by my martial arts instructor, or the grand master. He said, you got to teach from your practice. But ultimately, I interpret that I have to live from my practice. So I got to take, how I practice the spirituality in life into my business, into my work, everywhere I go. A lot like has been said before, like SA, I am who I am when I go out, right? I don't want to be someone different. And so, my goal is to bring that out to the world in what I do. And I think that's what gives me the heading and guiding and compass and all that kind of stuff.
So the specific topic of spirituality, and it's one thing to be a smartass and just be your, funny self in with other people, but there is another thing about coming into a room of people and showing your true spiritual colors, maybe for fear of like what other people are going to think. Tell me about that a little bit from your journey.
Yeah, I think the thing is you become softer in life at some level, right? You can see through maybe the room and the people and all the egos and the pretension and that type of stuff, and you use the spiritual sort of that energy, understanding that energy to sort of navigate the complexity of the room. And not every meeting is a lesson. Sometimes it's just navigating through. But at some point along the way, a lot of what my chapter is about is recovering from a broken project, for something that's really broken. And at some point, you got to navigate out of that. And some of that is putting your ego aside. And the hard part on the business basis is to guide someone to put their ego aside, to guide someone to say, hey, look, guys, this isn't working. Okay, I know it hurts. I know it feels like a failure, but it doesn't have to be, right? It's data, it's information, and we can move it to a different place.
It's pretty powerful to be able to read the energy in a room. I mean, whether we're verbalizing our superpowers or not, it's just a powerful way to be in a room with other humans who are all having their own energies and egos and all the things. I love that you're talking about that.
Yes, well, thank you for the for publishing this book and getting us all together. I think these are different things that almost never gets written in books or said in books. There's a lot of copycat kind of books in this genre to some extent, and I think this is super unique as a whole idea and a concept. So I really appreciate what you've done.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I so agree with you. I cannot wait to get this into people's hands, because I can almost hear the sigh of relief from my fellow business owners. Even the thoughts like, oh, thank goodness, finally people are being real about this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Frank, for saying yes, for being here. So SA, I'm going to come to you with this next question. I'm coming around to all of you with this one. A lot of the times we think about the advice we'd give to ourselves when we started. I think about this a lot, especially with as much experience as you three have had, the different growth stages you've had in your business. Like if you went all the way back to the beginning, what would you say to that younger, less experienced self at this point when you can look back in retrospect?
I think the irony of that question would be kind of going to my brand, right? I would tell my younger self, even though he was a wild card at the time, I would tell him to be more focused on breaking out the cage. I think he was more engulfed in the illusion of being the wild card, but he wasn't applying that energy to something more positive.
Oh, I need more. So you had it in your head, but you weren't being the thing you were envisioning. Am I getting that right?
No, I mean, I was just kind of more of like a rebel without a cause, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like having the energy, having who I am right now, with no centralized correct direction on where to take my energy and put it into. I was so diversified into multiple different things, stretching myself thin. In addition to that, being a single dad, being PTA president, learning this, getting educated for this, and making sure I get this test done for that. It was so much different diversification and so much energy going into so many different things. Like I was stretched so thin that eventually the rubber band just popped.
Thank you for the clarification. You're making me think of something. I've been taking a course from, some of you know who Prince EA is. He's a spoken word poet, but a pretty masterful viral YouTuber. And he was talking about niching. And essays like, if I could have just focused back then, right? I think we all have a little bit of that, because I think everyone in this room is a multi-potentialite. Like we are, we've got lots of things that we love and lots of things we're good at. But he was talking about this story about a company. I wish I could remember the name. A company that makes the cymbals for a drum set. That's the only thing they make. No other part of the drum set. Think about that niche for a minute. And this company is like multiple hundreds of years old. That's how long they've lasted, niching in that narrow of a lane. Like, oh, I love that example so much. So I love that essay. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's incredible advice for somebody starting out. Pick a lane, focus, all that badass energy, you guys. Anything else you want to say about that essay?
No, I think you're dead right. I mean, collectively, when you come into business, like my vision at that time was to be an enterprise, and I was learning all the things of what an enterprise is instead of finding the right people to fit in to then help me grow a lot faster versus trying to do it on my own time and my own dime.
Yeah, that's more sage advice. All right, Frank, how about you with this one? What's that important piece of advice you'd give to yourself in those early stages of your business?
Oh my gracious, I've thought about this question a million times. um, Here's the thing. I would say to the young Frank, I would say, look, don't deny your creativity and play, because that's the secret to flow, and ultimately that's the secret to focus.
Mm.
And I think I spent way too much time focusing on what everybody else was telling me I was supposed to do than to, just embracing what intuitively I knew. And it took a long time to recover from all the old business ideas to get to the point where creativity drives a lot of what I do today. And I'm trying to move a bit more play into it. It's always tough, but that's where I get my best ideas, and that's how, in the end, that's how I solve things, and that's how my team solve things.
I love this so much. I have a quote over on my wall. You guys can't see it right now, but it says, I measure success by how much fun I'm having. And play and creativity are the zone of the energy where something much bigger can move through and inspire you, right? What else do you want to say about that for people like they're so stressed out, they're in the thing, they're literally bodies are hurting because they forgot to play.
Yeah, my quote that I have like right here on my computer.
Do we all have
is
quotes on our walls?
I got a bunch of them, but the one that's at the top is burnout is not doing enough of what you love.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and so that's the way I feel about it. If I'm not being creative, if I'm not in the flow, it's a good sense that I'm probably headed towards burnout, or I'm burning fast, but probably not getting anywhere so
Yeah.
fast. And so that's something to always remind myself to do it. And I think, like a lot of folks, I spent a lot of years burning hard. I mean, I think everybody in this book is a high achiever at some level, and we burn really hard and really fast, and we have to learn that lesson.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
do.
so
We do. All right, Prati. What would you say to that younger woman?
I mean, I started my business about 5 years ago, right? If you're really talking about business, and honestly, I've loved every second of it. I know it sounds so corny, but even the decisions I made, like I started to run a community kitchen, right? That's what I went for a whole year. I put the time, research, created the business plan, went to the licenses, like talked to restaurant owners, did all that just to know that it's not for me. But you learn so much in that process about yourself and the ability to stick to something you believe in, pivot as you needed, listening to people what they needed and doing something else completely, which was marketing, which I swore that after 20 years or 25 years of like, I'm never going to do. And here I am, running a digital agency, and having 80% of my people are women, which I love, right? So honestly, I wouldn't change a thing, because I wouldn't be where I am today if not for all the things I did which guided me to this place today.
Would any of you change anything? Frank or Essay? Like, are you guys of the belief that everything you've been through got you to where you are today, and so it's all for us? Yeah, I'm getting all nods in case you guys aren't watching the video.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want to believe that, and I'm not so sure that believing after that is particularly supportive. At some point, everything I do today is based on all the ups and downs I've had along the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, Frank, sticking with you for this last one. I really want to get into your topic from the book for just a minute and let you guys really shine for the listeners today. What's the most important thing you want people to know about when that business has gotten stuck? Most important thing.
Yeah, I think the thing is that, it's sort of that first idea that mission is the first step. And I think that is the hardest piece that I struggle when I work sometimes with folks, is to get a business, to get a team to admit that, hey, this isn't really going the way we are. And the backdrop of my own story was that about the time I was writing this chapter, I broke my leg and denied that I had broken my leg, and ended up getting an ambulance ride to the hospital. And I put the story in there, but it was that idea of saying, no, 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 it's a sprain. It's going to be fine. Just the morning will be fine. And we do that in business a lot. And I've worked with a lot of companies. I've worked for companies and with companies who have broken projects. And it doesn't mean the basic idea was right. It just needed some guidance and shifting. And sometimes you had to flex to the market. Sometimes you do have to shut it down. But the delay is tough, right? A success is easy, and a complete failure is actually easy at some level. It's that thing in the middle where you're not completely successful yet, and you're not completely failed yet. That's a hard piece to navigate. And that's where I tend to spend a lot of time helping people navigate.
Thank you for that. I love it. Your chapter is powerful. Can't wait for people to read it.
Thank you.
Prati, how about you? Tell us what the most important thing about digital marketing is in your book.
So one of the most powerful thing first in the business is, make decisions. Don't be afraid to make decision. Our decision leads to next decision. And that's all the marketing is. You will never know, the landscape is changing all the time. So make decisions, experiment, go out, do things and figure out what's working and not working. And also initially, I'm a big fan of really mastering something, right? So this whole thing of doing multiple things on multiple platforms, even though I'm a marketing expert, I don't believe in it. You go really do one well. And when you are really comfortable, then you start to kind of see where you're going and not be so overwhelmed that your energy is so shut down that you're not even able to do your daily things, which is bringing revenue to you.
Yeah, really important. Back to that idea of that lane again. I'm just thinking about those drum cymbals now can't get that out of my head.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. All right, essay, in terms of podcasting, I love the topic. I think there's so much here, but what's that most important nugget you want to give people today?
I would say when it comes down to podcasting, it's kind of the why, the purpose, and the passion. Like, why are you doing the podcasting? Are you trying to create money? Are you trying to create leads? Are you trying to leave behind a legacy? Like, you have to establish that why. And then behind that why is more so the purpose. If you're going to do a legacy, who's this legacy for? How is it then going to become a legacy down the road? And then going behind it is your passion. Like, what topics are you going to talk about? And then again, the combination of all three elements is what are you going to deliver, and can you deliver that consistently over a period of time, no matter what happens, whether it's raining, no matter if you broke a leg, no matter what happens, can you deliver that consistently for a long period of time to get to the level of success that you're striving for?
Yeah, I want to just rewind to you got to have your why. And if you look at anybody who's really talking about the authentic way to success, they started with their big ass vision and the why for that vision. I'm curious, sometimes on my journey, it's been hard. Like yesterday, I just looked at everything and I was just a little tired. And I'm like, God, what is my why? I have no idea anymore. Like, I'm sure we go on the roller coaster kind of up and down, trying to get back to it. And when I wrote the words down on my notebook, it was like freedom and joy. There it was for me. Like, if I could have the biggest why, freedom and joy. But essay, when you think of why, is it broad like that, or is it very specific again in terms of your business?
I think there's a duality to it. I think there's actually a personal level, like what my personal why is, and then it's a collective why. What is my audience? Like, what am I doing for them, helping them achieve, and why they want it, and why am I doing it? And I keep those in two separate hemispheres, right? But again, the answer for both of them, there's overlap. I become the example of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and then take that example and then educate and teach the other people to get the same exact results that I'm getting.
Nice. I like that answer a lot. And it helps people understand there's really no right answer to these things. You got to trust your own heart and soul, your own gut. You got to really connect with something bigger and find those solutions. You guys have the answer to every single question in your business that you need. Don't second guess your own badass intuition. You can go out for advice. You can read all the advice in our book. But in the end, you come back to here and you check in and you figure out if it aligns with you and what you're up to in the world, right? And I think, and I'm getting all the nods. So thank you all for your nods, because I know that that's also a piece of how the successful business owners in this book are doing success. That is how they are getting to that place of success. They've built a practice around checking in with their own intuition. We are not doing business as usual in this book, y'all. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of our cover here. I hope you guys will go pick up the Complete Small Business Growth Guidebook, Brave Strategies for Authentic Success. You can see all the co-authors at the bottom there. Shout out to Melissa Henry. She's an author, but she's also the gal that helped me with this beautiful cover art. This is called Galaxy Girl, you guys. You can read more about it inside the book. Frank, S.A., Prati, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here to share it with everyone today. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura.
For the listeners, I want you to remember that this is way more than a book. This is a very generous and powerful community. Drop down into the show notes. I've got everybody here hooked up with their websites. They are up to some awesomeness in the world. I hope you will click, explore, reach out. Maybe you have a question after you heard what they were talking about today. Maybe you need support in their lane of genius zone, right? They're waiting for you to reach out. So drop down, click on the websites, find out all about my friends here. And you are invited to join us for the book launch party on Zoom. It's going to be on October 31st. So, you can wear your Halloween costume if you want to. We're going to have a huge prize giveaway that night. We're going to have so much fun, you guys. And info is down below for the party. Hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of this book. It's going to change your life. It's going to change your business. The community will also change your life and business. Lastly, everyone, remember your words and your business will change the world when you're brave enough to share them in a bigger way. It's time to be brave. See you guys.